Aboard a silent patrol ship cruising through the inky vastness of space, the crew from the Galactic Empire kept watch over uncharted territories. This was routine for them as they swept through regions less traveled by the Empire, cataloging and, if warranted, annexing planets and civilizations. Their superiority was unquestioned, and every crew member carried the implicit understanding that any intelligent species they encountered would submit without resistance. It was the natural order. The Empire's dominion was vast, unopposed, and righteous. They were conquerors, and the universe was their rightful domain. Then, amidst the crackling of scanners and the whir of instruments, the crew detected something. Faint signals, unmistakable and regular. They paused, recalibrating to focus on the source. The data confirmed their suspicions: a structured, coordinated network of signals, layered in complexity, not the random interference of cosmic phenomena. This was the unmistakable hallmark of civilization. Their eyes flicked to the control screens with piqued interest as they honed in on the origin of a small, relatively isolated planetary system. As they drew closer, the Empire's scouts began analyzing the planet's surface, climate, population density, and most curiously, the traces of complex technology. By all appearances, the species had evolved at a surprising rate. Their signals revealed communications, data-sharing networks, and images of structures sprawling across the planet's surface. In terms of development, they were far from the Empire's level, but they had achieved a remarkable spread across several planets within their system. Data streamed back to the Empire's Central Command, where high-ranking officials reviewed the findings. Fascinated yet unalarmed, they delved into the collected information. They noted the humans' technological advancements, the robustness of their culture, and their rapid expansion. Yet, it wasn't the type of expansion that suggested a great threat. It was more like a species reaching beyond its bounds, propelled by curiosity rather than conquest. They were industrious, certainly, but primitive by the Empire's standards, dependent on resources and machinery that the Empire had long outgrown. There was a slight amusement among the officials. A species like this, so bound by their own limitations, would make a fine addition to the Empire's resources. But despite this dismissiveness, there was a strange respect, if only for the speed of humanity's growth. However, no one expected resistance. If anything, humanity would see the wisdom in becoming part of something greater. The Empire had seen countless civilizations assimilate. Some were more advanced than these humans, and all had fallen in line. To them, humanity's independence was a quaint notion, one that would dissolve when faced with the Empire's overwhelming might. In their estimation, humans would be useful, capable workers, possibly a decent labor force to harness. Within days, the Council convened to debate the next step. The larger question was whether this species was worthy of the Empire's immediate attention. Some advisors proposed simply marking them for future acquisition, but others argued that it would be more efficient to strike while their defenses were primitive. An ultimatum would suffice. The Empire could either annex them peacefully or conquer them if they resisted, though that was unlikely. The consensus leaned toward asserting authority now, quashing any notions of independence humans might harbor. A few voices raised concerns, pointing out a trait observed in humanity: unpredictability. Unlike other civilizations that submitted peacefully, humanity's history showed a stubborn resilience. Some suspected that this stubbornness could mean a potential struggle. Yet these voices were dismissed. Humanity's capacity for unpredictability was a quaint quirk, hardly a match for the Empire's seasoned forces. It was decided. The Empire would send a message, a formal declaration that humanity could either join peacefully or be assimilated by force. Given the Empire's track record, they expected humanity to fold. A message was drafted, calculated in tone and coldly efficient. The message outlined the options clearly, stressing that resistance would be futile. They detailed the benefits of compliance, protection, trade, and the Empire's technological wisdom. Of course, the penalties for defiance were equally clear. Should they resist, humanity would face eradication. There would be no room for rebellion. In the shadow of stars and vast reaches of space, the message was transmitted to Earth. It swept across frequencies and channels impossible to ignore. Humanity's shock was immediate and palpable. The message from the Galactic Empire reverberated across every corner of Earth. News channels, social media, and private communications exploded with the information that a powerful alien civilization had issued an ultimatum to surrender or face destruction. Disbelief turned quickly to fear, then to anger, as people absorbed the cold arrogance behind the Empire's demands. This was not a simple request or a diplomatic outreach. It was a declaration that humanity was seen as inferior, a species to be subdued or wiped out. However, this collective shock did not last long. Almost instinctively, humanity's resolve began to harden. Across borders, beyond differences of race, politics, and creed, there was a unifying realization humanity would not go down without a fight. For the first time in recent memory, there was no division, only a shared determination. Nations that had long been rivals found themselves on the same side, with a singular focus on preparing for the alien threat. Scientists, soldiers, and civilians alike knew that Earth's survival was at stake, and every ounce of intelligence, strength, and innovation would be needed. Behind closed doors, the United Nations convened an emergency summit with representatives from all major world powers. The public was aware of the threat, but unaware of the frantic, secretive councils forming in response. A coalition of the world's top minds, military strategists, scientists, engineers, and intelligence experts gathered in secure locations around the world, forming a secret council dedicated to formulating a response plan. They were joined by some of humanity's brightest individuals whose innovations and ideas had previously been confined to theoretical discussions and black ops projects. These leaders debated the nature of the threat. They analyzed every piece of data, trying to understand the Empire's strengths and, more importantly, potential weaknesses. Some members, like General Ortiz, an experienced military strategist, took charge of Earth's defensive strategies. Dr. Liu, a physicist whose groundbreaking work on electromagnetic warfare was known to few, began discussing technologies that had been kept under wraps, hidden even from allied nations. The attendees realized that humanity was not entirely unprepared. Over the years, in secret labs and classified projects, scientists had developed technologies and weapons far more advanced than what was publicly known. These hidden assets, while not as advanced as the Empire's, could offer a fighting chance. In intense, hushed meetings, discussions covered everything from advanced weaponry to strategic psychological tactics. A plan was forming, one that would exploit humanity's creativity and resilience. Dr. Iskander, a psychologist, pointed out that the Empire likely knew little about humanity's capacity for resistance and adaptability. They don't know our history, she argued. They don't understand what we're capable of when our backs are against the wall. This insight became a cornerstone of their strategy. They would rely not only on technology but on tactics the Empire would never anticipate, turning humanity's unpredictability into their greatest weapon. The preparation phase was intense, a flurry of activity spanning all continents. With global cooperation at an unprecedented level, humanity began mobilizing its hidden forces. Experimental weapons and newly designed defense systems, kept secret for years, were now brought to the forefront. Deep sea bases and remote research facilities, known only to a few, became focal points of this immense mobilization. Advanced satellites, loaded with experimental EMP technology, were positioned strategically in orbit, awaiting commands. Military forces began deploying to key locations, drilling relentlessly, preparing for scenarios that, until now, were only hypothetical. Specialized defense systems were activated, some leveraging technology that the public had only heard about in rumors. Humanity's militaries and intelligence agencies coordinated their efforts, setting up strategic ambushes and defensive positions around Earth. They studied patterns from past conflicts, drawing lessons from both history and theoretical simulations. Earth's defenses, although primitive compared to the Empire's might, were being fortified with traps and contingencies designed to exploit every known weakness of the Empire. Earth's generals, soldiers, and engineers drew on centuries of human warfare, drawing parallels between guerrilla tactics and conventional warfare. In a secluded base, scientists perfected camouflage technologies and energy shields, creating what they hoped would be an element of surprise. Battle plans focused on deception and misdirection, understanding that a direct confrontation would lead to certain defeat. Instead, Earth's forces would lead the Empire into traps, decoys, and diversions, wasting their time and resources, frustrating them at every turn. There was an understanding among the Council that they needed to be as unpredictable and adaptable as possible, traits that had served humanity well in its long history of conflict. The Empire's fleet approached Earth with unwavering confidence. Rows upon rows of colossal ships moved in synchronized formation, their sleek designs a testament to the Empire's technological prowess. To them, this was just another routine conquest, a mere formality before humanity inevitably surrendered. The fleet's commanders glanced at Earth, unimpressed, preparing for what they assumed would be a straightforward victory. They had faced resistance before, but nothing that lasted more than a few skirmishes. With their energy shields and powerful weaponry, they believed this would be over in hours, maybe even minutes. As the first ships entered Earth's orbit, they initiated probing attacks, firing controlled bursts of energy towards Earth's defenses to test for weaknesses. But humanity's defenses were not what they had expected. As the Empire's fleet began its probing, Earth's forces sprang into action, activating hidden energy shields that absorbed and dispersed the incoming blasts. Satellite systems, long disguised as civilian structures, revealed their true nature, intercepting the Empire's fire with surprising precision. For the first time, the Empire's fleet met resistance, but they dismissed it as a minor inconvenience, unaware of what humanity had planned. As the Empire moved in closer, Earth's first ambush was unleashed. Out of nowhere, a fleet of human drones erupted from hidden bases on the moon's surface, swarming around the Empire's ships. These were no ordinary drones. They moved unpredictably, in erratic patterns that threw off the Empire's targeting systems. Equipped with electromagnetic pulses, they latched onto the Empire's ships and discharged bursts that temporarily disabled their shielding. In those moments of vulnerability, Earth's missiles targeted the exposed sections, causing explosions that reverberated through the fleet. The Empire's ships struggled to regain control as they faced an onslaught of attacks from every angle. What had been expected to be a quick victory turned into a scene of chaos. Earth's forces had laid elaborate traps, baiting the Empire into choke points where carefully placed mines and high-energy projectiles awaited them. Human pilots, operating in swift, agile craft, used guerrilla-style tactics, darting in and out of the Empire's formations, striking fast, then vanishing before the Empire could respond. Ships that had long dominated the stars now found themselves unable to anticipate or counter Earth's erratic maneuvers. On board the Empire's ships, alarms blared, and commanders struggled to make sense of the situation. The humans fought with a tenacity and ingenuity that was unlike anything they'd encountered. They didn't follow the predictable patterns of other conquered civilizations. The Empire's fleet, trained in dealing with disciplined formations and standard tactics, was thrown into disarray by Earth's improvisational approach. Every ship disabled, every soldier lost rattled the Empire further. They realized, too late, that they had severely underestimated humanity. The chaos intensified as Earth's forces began employing psychological warfare, a tactic the Empire had rarely faced. Human broadcasts flooded the Empire's communication channels with cryptic messages and eerie, distorted sounds designed to unsettle and confuse. To the Empire's soldiers, these messages felt haunting, layered with sounds and phrases that hinted at humanity's resilience and the inevitability of their own failure. They heard snippets of Earth's history, of past wars where humans had faced impossible odds and survived. It was as if humanity was speaking directly into their minds, taunting them, reminding them that Earth was no ordinary conquest. These psychological tactics took their toll. The Empire's troops, cut off from clear instructions, felt isolated, facing an enemy that seemed to know their every move. Human hackers infiltrated their communication networks, rerouting orders and replacing them with misinformation. Squadrons were sent in the wrong directions, while others received conflicting commands, leading to internal confusion and accidental crossfires. The human forces capitalized on every misstep, striking at weakened points with precision and ferocity. Each time the Empire tried to regroup, another wave of attacks would throw them off balance. The Empire's fleet, designed for overwhelming dominance, had never encountered an opponent that fought like this. Humanity's forces showed no fear, no hesitation. Even in the face of heavy losses, they pressed on, refusing to back down. Empire soldiers, trained to expect immediate submission, found themselves facing fighters who would rather die than surrender. This relentless resilience began to break their morale. Earth's forces seemed almost reckless, as if they were willing to take any risk to protect their home. Every message that came through from the humans was a reminder that they were in for a fight unlike any they'd known. As the battle dragged on, fear began to creep into the Empire's ranks. Their confidence wavered as they watched their fleet struggle against a civilization they had dismissed as primitive. The relentless resistance from humanity left them stunned, forcing the Empire's commanders to confront a bitter truth: they had underestimated the humans to a catastrophic degree. Ships that had once seemed indestructible were now damaged or adrift, their crews scrambling to stay alive. The once quiet hum of efficiency on board the Empire's ships was replaced with frantic movements and panicked voices. Realization set in among the Empire's leaders: humanity was not going to surrender. They were facing a force with nothing to lose, a species that had honed its survival instincts through countless internal conflicts and struggles. This was not a battle of conquest anymore, it was a fight for survival, and humanity had made it clear that they would defend their home with every ounce of strength they had. For the first time, the Empire began to question if they could truly win this fight, or if they had walked into a battle that would cost them more than they could afford. Earth's forces gathered for a final coordinated strike. With every weapon, ship, and tactic they could muster, they launched themselves at the Empire's fleet with unyielding determination. This was the culmination of everything they had prepared for, the moment they would make their stand and show the Empire that humanity was not to be conquered. Coordinated squadrons of fighters and drones swarmed the remaining Empire ships, targeting weak points identified over the course of the battle. Precision strikes disabled primary systems, while EMP pulses continued to scramble the Empire's technology. Human ground bases fired an array of missile volleys, overwhelming the Empire's shields and causing blasts that tore through their ranks. The chaos was total. The Empire's fleet, now battered and demoralized, struggled to maintain any semblance of order. Commands were lost in the roar of explosions, and ships collided in the confusion, their pristine formations broken and scattered. Human pilots maneuvered with agility, weaving through the debris, striking at exposed hulls with laser fire and missiles. The Empire's captains, seasoned and well-trained, found themselves overwhelmed by tactics they had never faced. For every ship they tried to regroup, two more were struck down, their shields shattered, their engines failing. Humanity's forces fought fiercely, with a mix of traditional combat methods and cutting-edge technology that astounded the Empire. Earth's fleets displayed a diversity and adaptability that the Empire, in all its conquests, had rarely encountered. The Empire's soldiers, who had never questioned their invincibility, now looked on in horror as the remains of their once dominant fleet were systematically dismantled by a species they had underestimated. Desperation crept into their voices, panic evident as the reality of their situation set in. In the Empire's command ship, the decision to retreat was looming, and with each minute, it became clearer that this was their only option. The leaders, who had once confidently ordered the attack, now struggled to accept the truth they were losing. This was not a temporary setback or a minor inconvenience, this was a defeat. The High Council members argued among themselves, their voices laced with frustration and disbelief. It was unthinkable that they, the Galactic Empire, the supreme power in the galaxy, would retreat from a fledgling civilization. Yet the brutal fact was undeniable: their fleet was dwindling, their soldiers were shaken, and their control was slipping away. In the end, pride was no match for survival. Reluctantly, the Empire's commanders issued the order to retreat. They pulled back, issuing directives to all remaining ships to abandon the engagement and return to Empire-controlled space. It was a bitter moment, one that no member of the fleet would forget. They would have to face the High Council, explain their failure, and admit that they had been defeated by a species they had deemed inferior. The shame was palpable, an oppressive weight that hung over the entire fleet as they broke formation and began the journey back to their home territories. As the Empire's fleet pulled away, the surviving leaders drafted a report for the High Council, detailing the events of the battle and the unexpected resilience of humanity. Words like unpredictable, tenacious, and resourceful were repeated throughout the report. They described humanity as a force that fought with a blend of ferocity and ingenuity, a civilization that had evolved through struggle and conflict. For the first time, the Empire admitted fear that they had awoken something far more formidable than they had imagined. The retreat marked a crack in the Empire's perceived invincibility, a humbling reminder that even the smallest spark could ignite a fire. In the moments following the Empire's retreat, Earth sent a final message, transmitted across the same channels the Empire had once used to deliver their ultimatum. It was brief, but it carried a weight that could not be ignored. Run back and don't return. We are not as weak as you believed. The message was defiant, an assertion of humanity's strength and unity. It was a reminder to the Empire that they had miscalculated, that humanity would not submit, and that any future attempts would be met with the same resilience and fury. The words echoed through the remnants of the Empire's fleet, leaving an indelible mark on every soldier who heard them. Back on Earth, the victory was celebrated, but it was a bittersweet moment. There was relief, pride, and a profound sense of accomplishment, yet beneath it all lay the somber acknowledgement of the cost. Lives had been lost, resources exhausted, and Earth had narrowly escaped subjugation. As leaders and citizens reflected on the battle, there was a shared understanding that this encounter had changed them. Humanity had faced an enemy far beyond their experience, and they had won, but they knew that victory would come with new challenges. This battle had shown humanity what they were capable of when united, but it also served as a warning. The universe was vast, filled with civilizations beyond their comprehension. There would be more encounters, and next time they might not have the element of surprise. Plans were made to strengthen defenses, to explore deeper into space, and to ensure that Earth was ready for whatever lay beyond. Humanity had won this time, but they knew they would need to remain vigilant. In the halls of the Empire, the impact of this defeat lingered. The Empire's leaders vowed to never again underestimate another species, especially not humans. The tale of Earth's defiance and resilience spread among the ranks, serving as a sobering reminder that no civilization, no matter how seemingly insignificant, should be dismissed without caution. Humanity's message echoed in their minds, a stark warning that the Empire would not forget,